On this week's episode of the Main Event Podcast, we're looking a little bit deeper into the recent supposed hacking of Cesaro's official Twitter account. The final episode of Monday Night Raw before Fastlane took place this week, so we'll be reviewing what the WWE had to offer us on Monday night, as well as Thursday Night SmackDown, and of course last week's NXT Takeover special Rival, as Sami Zayn defended his NXT Championship in the main event against Kevin Owens. Welcome WWE fans to the Main Event Podcast, the first episode of 2015 in February, and our first episode since August 2014.
Well, I mean, that's what happens when you forget to press record every single week.
Yeah, man, what the hell? Simple instructions.
Yeah.
Simple.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
Regardless of that, we are back, and as always, I'm Raza, and joining me are Arif and Imran. Certainly has been a while since we were last here. How you guys doing?
I'm very well. I can't believe we're back. We're back, and I've finally remembered to press record.
Hey, we've got a new format, new guests, new shows. Everything is new.
Everything is. We're actually back to a huge surprise. I believe when we last recorded, we had around 15 to 25 subscribers on YouTube, something along those lines. And to come back to find 406 or so subscribers is 406, something like that. I think it just goes to show us that everyone likes it when we're not around. So yeah, I'll see you guys later. And
yeah, well, do you know what? Honestly, I think doing that would do us all a favor.
Oh, really?
I'll take over the show. I'll run it the way I want. Welcome to the Main Event Podcast, guys. Podcast with a P. I think that was something we used to say back in the day. Something about our Facebook page, something about our Twitter page. Maybe you can inform them, Raza.
Minus 50 subscribers already.
Oh, damn.
Obviously, we appreciate all the support. It is a genuine surprise to even get past that 20 mark, let alone hundreds, for simply talking and discussing about, something we're passionate about, professional wrestling. So a big thank you to the 400 or so subscribers. Imran's very excited. So thank you to the 400 or so subscribers. Arif is probably still shocked that there are 400 people who actually want to listen to him. I mean, I'm one of them.
Well, I mean, we've got 400 subscribers. That's not necessarily 400 listeners.
Let's not play our own achievements down. It's actually been so long since we last produced an episode. I've forgotten what episode we're on. I should have checked that beforehand. We are on episode 35.
32. Oh, so close.
35 of the River Podcast. As you heard at the start, we've got some good stuff lined up for you today, plus a lot more. There's news and discussion on the futures of Paul Heyman and the WWE World Heavyweight Champion Brock Lesnar. We're taking a look at the big rumour circulating that the main roster is frustrated with NXT superstars and divas, as well as what Triple H has been up to down in NXT. We've got a story on Roman Reigns and Daniel Bryan as well about their match at Fastlane and what it could mean for WrestleMania. Fastlane takes place this Sunday, which you can watch live on the WWE Network. Something I never thought I'd say in the United Kingdom.
Wait, how much is it, Raza?
I mean, it's $9.99.
No, it's not.
Well, £9.99.
No, it's free.
Jokes on you.
You know what? You try and help people out.
Some things never change, do they?
Yeah. Well.
But yeah, I think in England you can watch on Sky Sports anyway if you want to. And we do have our predictions ready for that event. And finally, towards the end, we've got something that's making the hair on the back of my neck stand up. I mean, I've got goosebumps. There's a chill in my room. We've got Arif's Theory of the Week as well to look forward to.
It's returning.
I know.
I don't even know what it is yet, but it's returning.
Before we do get started, just very quickly, those of you that have listened from day one, you already know this off by heart. Podomatic Stitcher on your smartphone, tablets, YouTube, iTunes. You can listen to us, wherever, whenever you want. You can even send Arif to you to personally give you a reading of our podcast if you want, word for word. So please like the podcast, download the episodes, hit the like button wherever it is, up or down.
Up, preferably.
No, I mean, I don't know where the button is to like.
Oh, sorry, not the... Yeah, okay, that makes more sense.
That makes more sense. I'm sorry.
I want them to thumbs down our show.
Thumbs up on the show. You can recommend us to your friends or family, anyone who's interested in the WWE, that, we'd appreciate that a lot.
And one thing I worked out really recently is if you thumbs it up, then thumbs it down, then thumbs it up again, it counts as 2 thumbs up, but only 1 thumbs down.
Wow. So what if
you could continue doing this and be in a surplus of thumbs up?
So what if you do thumbs up?
As long as you end with a thumbs up.
So if you do a thumbs up, a thumbs down, a thumbs up, a thumbs down, a thumbs up, a thumbs down, a thumbs up, you're gonna get 1 thumbs down.
Okay, 1 minute. Let me just go back to the drawing board on this.
See, this is what I have to work with. This is why I don't press
What a-
record.
This is
What a thought-provoking podcast. I mean, these are, this Arif raised a very important point. I want to know the ins and outs of it.
How can we thumbs up if we have no thumbs ourselves? Said the monkeys.
There we go.
No, wait, do monkeys have opposable thumbs? No, they don't. That's the whole point, right?
I think so.
Oh, this is deep.
Arif, now that we're back, I give you the honor of kicking off this week's podcast.
I mean, we're no longer just a wrestling podcast. We're a universe podcast. But I guess in this universes of podcasts, universi, we'll have to start off at the WWE universe. And it's my job, ladies and gentlemen, to kick off with the NXT universe. Yes, that's right. You're not hearing that incorrectly. Don't adjust your sets because I watched NXT Takeover Rivals.
You're gonna faint? Bloody hell.
And the show itself opened with a video package recapping all of the matches and feuds that have been going on, obviously over the different shows that we've been recording for you guys. And the original match starts off with a singles match. Hideo Itami. Hideo versus Tyler Breeze. Tyler Breeze comes out and a lady jumps on his back and then she leaves. So I don't know if that was a real person or if that was...
No, it was clearly staged. The camera didn't pan away.
I don't know.
Staged.
NXT is pretty believable. It's not like those fake shows that TNA put on. Can't believe who liked those.
Raw.
Yep, security takes her away. And we get a really fantastically fast-paced match for an opening match. It's surprising to see someone who has so much promise in Hideo Itami come in and be, I guess, the curtain jerker for the NXT Takeover Rivals pay-per-view. And he, I don't know, he seems to try and get his opinions across or character across with a lot of hype. Somehow kind of like another NXT superstar that we all like.
Oh god.
That Brazil likes
This,
because he stays hyped.
he doesn't get hype.
Can we move on?
Anyway, Hideo Itami goes for a series of stiff kicks. Breeze runs away, gets an advantage and takes out Itami's leg. Itami teases a GTS as he always does, and then hulks up.
Turning Super Saiyan.
Wraps it up with a kick in the corner and a running kick to win. Not unlike Daniel Bryan's.
Hmm.
Hideo Itami is your winner. Your next match is Baron Corbin, the guy with the mouth for a stomach, versus Bull Dempsey, the guy with a stomach. And this match was terrible. And we had a no DQ match with no weapons. There was a tease for a chair or a tease for a table, and nothing was used. Again, it's a very short match, as you always get with Baron Corbin matches, and no prizes for guessing correctly because Baron Corbin got the winner. And this is like the third time they face each other. After the match, Corbin stands tall over Bull. Now, the next match is the NXT Tag Team Champions, who I thought were the Lucha Dragons. Of course, and they faced Murphy and Blake, who are actually the champions. And I didn't even know who they were. But apparently, I like the NXT Tag Team Champions. Yeah, because I thought it was the Lucha Dragons. They have a lot of talent, but I'm afraid to say this match didn't show it for either team. There were a couple of mistakes, and it was too back and forth for my liking. But it finished with Murphy hitting a suplex, followed by a splash by Blake for the win. They look a little bit like the old Edge team, the Edgeheads. My
I don't know. For me, it comes very traditional, but they got a modern take on it. I like this tag team.
It looks solid. Solid team.
Yeah.
Obviously, with Sin Cara, you're bound to get botches anyway, so real or fake, it doesn't make a difference.
Yeah, but then we get hacked into. So, I don't know, on the screen we get an interruption with a graphic telling us that TakeOver continues next week. I'm not sure who that was. I don't know. I think for those Full Sail guys, they're not very good at what they do with the editing. So yeah, number one contenders match is next. Adrian Neville versus Finn Balor, and wow, Finn Balor's entrance, guys, is something else. I mean, it was the same as it was on the last pay-per-view. I believe it was NXT Takeover Extreme Rules was the name of the last pay-per-view.
Extreme Rules Hell in the Cell in the bank.
Yep, in the bank
Yeah.
with the slam.
Yeah,
Like
in the summer. Yeah, that's the one.
Yep. Wow, what an entrance! He comes out with a shark paint and wing sort of Finn thing on his back as well. Plays around with the music, dances with the music. That's his like style, and it comes across really well. And then we get Adrian Neville, who just looks normal and boring now
But he's
compared to Finn Balor.
British. We love him. He's
But yeah, and he's from Newcastle, and that's great. And honestly, I really like him, but he looks substandard compared to Finn Balor, who seems to have the total package.
Yeah.
Really,
I don't know. For me, in this match, he came across a bit like a dancing monkey, as in like he was all over the place, jumping all over the place, but it seemed like he didn't have the complete package. Myself, he wasn't. There wasn't much to his jumps.
Yeah, fair enough. That's your opinion. It's wrong. And so Neville hit some beautiful German suplexes onto Finn for 2 counts. Obviously, it's too early in the match. Great back and forth action between the two. They're really showing why they are the future of the WWE. But we end with, I guess, a drop kick in the corner by Finn, and then a really, really quick foot stomp, which looked absolutely amazing, and Finn Balor gets the victory. And then there's another handshake, which I don't really like. My problem with handshakes with Adrian Neville is he would be a really, really good heel to have in NXT. I think as a heel, he'd have to talk less. I think he'd have to be less nice, and I think not shaking hands would just get his character the edge over a little bit more. I mean, cast your minds back to their match. To Adrian Neville's match with Sami Zayn on the last pay-per-view. There was just that edge to him. There was that possibility that Neville could turn heel. And I think that's what's missing from his character right now. And I think without that, I think he's just going to fall into mediocrity.
Yeah, I think he's losing that aggressiveness.
But Finn Balor gets the number 1 contendership, and he moves on. The next match was a fatal 4-way match for the NXT Women's title. It's Bayley versus Sasha Banks versus Becky Lynch versus Charlotte, who was the champion. Wow. So NXT Divas. I mean, what can you really say? I mean, you had neck breakers, drop kicks, spears, great chemistry between all competitors, and outstanding double team moves that play off so well. Pacing was excellent throughout, and I really didn't think I'd be able to say this for an NXT women's title match, or even just a women's match in general, but it was really, really entertaining from start to finish. Sasha hits a crazy looking crossface on Charlotte, holds it and pulls her head back ridiculously well, before rolling her up into a pin. A bit of a weak ending, I guess, because of the crossface that was there, but nevertheless, Sasha is your new NXT Women's Champion.
I thought Charlotte would tap. Still, it's okay.
Yeah, I thought it would have looked better if she tapped.
Yeah, I don't know, Charlotte. She's really dominant. I don't think it would have suited her if she tapped.
Do you think this is possibly now a push for Charlotte to be onto the main roster?
Yes.
What do you think?
Sasha herself, she deserves it. So she deserves the title. So it's not come out. It couldn't have come at a better time, really.
What do we think? Charlotte on main roster before or after WrestleMania?
Hopefully after, yeah.
Yeah, definitely after. I think it'll be a night after WrestleMania.
Like Paige.
Yeah, like Paige.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And hopefully she'll beat the Bella. So we get to the NXT title match, the main event. Sami Zayn, the champion, versus his longtime rival, Kevin Owens. I've got to say, I loved the hype for this main event.
Oh my god.
Wow. From Kevin Owens' debut to powerbombing his former friend onto the side of the ring, to every week just ignoring questions, to finally mentioning that it was just pure business and not personal, to Sami Zayn's pure hatred that came through his eyes. Owens plays the heel perfectly. He wastes a lot of time at the start of the match before getting outside the ring, until Zayn leaps over the referee in a move I've never seen before and over the ropes onto Owens. Very, very impressive. And what's more impressive was Owens' aggressiveness, hitting back chops, gutbusters, and a senton. Zayn fights back, but is clearly the underdog. This reminded me so much of John Cena versus Brock Lesnar at SummerSlam. You just really got that feeling of Sami Zayn just not being able to do anything to beat Owens. Owens takes Zayn to the outside and smacks his head on the steel. And that is truly the beginning of the end. He hits a powerbomb, and another, and another. And they reach the fourth powerbomb. The referee's there. The trainers are there. And they stop Owens. Zayn looks out of it. The bell rings. The crowd are confused. And your winner and new NXT champion, Kevin Owens. In less than 2 months after making his debut, a monster heel turns into the monster that is the NXT champion.
Incredible.
Yep, it really, really was.
I think you hit the
I
nail on the head
did
there
not see.
when it was shades of Lesnar and Cena. That was very clear. Great storytelling from both Zayn Owens and Arif. I thought it was a good event. Not the
I
strongest,
loved
but
it.
good event.
I personally did not see this title win coming, especially in this fashion. And you know what? It suited both of them so well.
I think the question has to be asked now, who's going to stop Kevin Owens? Who can stop Kevin Owens?
I don't think anybody can.
Next in line.
Saying that, it's
Oh.
Finn Balor.
It's going to take more than an impressive entrance to intimidate Kevin Owens.
So I had a quick question about this, if you guys will indulge me for a second.
Actually, Arif, I don't want to hear anything you have to say for the rest of the episode, if I'm being quite honest.
That's actually quite harsh, but
I've had enough of the jokes. I'm taking control.
Raza, you're turning heel.
I'm turning heel. Official on the Main Event Podcast, first episode of 2015.
It's me turning heel.
I'm
against
turning heel.
you.
Full of surprises. Anything can happen.
There's a twist in the story.
Yep. I want to talk about the recent story coming out of NXT Takeover Rival. It's happened again. I'm just sure it happened with our Evolution in December or November, whenever it was. The story about the main roster talents being frustrated with NXT superstars, which is quite interesting, to say the least.
This is the thing, though. After every takeover, we have this story. Because, quite frankly, takeovers are amazing.
Yeah.
They be the matches, the card to watch throughout the whole year. So I'm not surprised. Again, I'm not surprised.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think it just goes to show, that WWE is really missing something. They're missing the plot, really, when it comes to the main shows, and the main roster feels it. But again, credit to the NXT stars,
Yeah.
picking up the ball and kind of like kicking the ball out of the park. Really, that's exactly what it is.
Yeah.
They're swinging for the fences, for each and every night. So yeah, like obviously the main roster is going to be frustrated.
Yeah, I think what came out it's the wrestling versus entertainment aspect of things. How NXT guys are they're frustrated because NXT guys are being given more time to perform in the ring and show off their movesets every single week. It's not just one off, it's every single week. And obviously the end result is going to be, obviously you get a few botches here and there that we saw with Blake and Murphy and Sin Cara, and yeah, obviously that happens, but in general, we're left with saying, okay, that was an incredible match, and the one after, even better, and then the main event, obviously incredible. And, the standard of matches leave us fans wanting more because we believe, it's the best product the WWE give us, and it's becoming more of a talked about brand in its own right. And I think because of this, the main roster talent, they know they're stuck with short match on television, which means nothing, storylines aren't advanced. They don't actually have the time to put on a show, regardless of how talented. I mean, we know Curtis Axel, really good wrestler. Justin Gabriel, who's just asked for his release, really good wrestler. But because not given the time, there's no storylines. Obviously, they're going to be frustrated, and obviously, when they don't put on a show for the fans, they don't hold back the feeling. That's why they get booed a lot as well. Whereas every NXT superstar, heel or face, is loved. Do you know what I mean?
I totally understand what you mean, but I think if you actually dissect the whole situation, I think the problem is what WWE has become. So you look at Raw, you look at SmackDown, and these aren't wrestling shows anymore. These aren't even sports shows anymore. This is sports entertainment, and I hate throwing that word around, but that's exactly what it is. There's a bit of sports, there's a whole lot of entertainment, and especially when you compare it to the whole indie scene, the whole wrestling scene, if you wish. You know, you got the likes of Lucha Underground, you
Yeah.
got the likes of Ring of Honor, very different companies, right? But thing is, Raw and SmackDown, they're about the singing, the dancing, a bit of storylines, yes. However, NXT goes back to the core product, the wrestling, the storytelling, the hard hitting moves, and that's the beauty about the actual network itself. I mean, the network's not for families to watch on their TV sets. It's for guys like us, real wrestling fans.
Yeah.
And that's the beauty about NXT. WWE has given us a real great platform with the WWE network, with NXT, that we could actually that they cater to our needs, if you wish.
So
That's the beauty about NXT. I mean, I feel sorry for guys like John Cena who are great, guys like Curtis Axel who are great, but Curtis Axel, no entertainment factor. Unfortunately, I mean, Ascension. Why did the Ascension flop? Because there's no entertainment factor. You know, it's these are, you're talking about two different shows, and that's the thing now. I don't want to see Adrian Neville move up to the main
yeah,
roster.
I know what you mean.
I don't want to see Sami Zayn move up to the main roster, and it's so sad to say that, but it's the truth. You know, yeah, they get more bigger pay. They're on the main roster, but NXT for me, that's wrestling.
So I think basically what you're saying is NXT is good because as wrestling fans, not sports entertainment fans, as wrestling fans, NXT focuses on wrestling. Raw, SmackDown, main event superstars, they focus on the entertainment. Basically.
Absolutely. Yep.
Obviously, this isn't, as I said, the first time it happened. I'm sure it happened with our Evolution as well, with the the Sami Zayn and Adrian Neville match. Obviously, another brilliant story. I think it was Dave Meltzer of the Wrestling Observer newsletter. He obviously had his say on it as well. He said it's a common frustration that top NXT performers, I'm guessing it probably won't be the newest of the new. I'm guessing it could be Finn Balor, probably Adrian Neville. Apparently, they're frustrated as well. I was surprised to hear it. They're frustrated because they believe I don't know, NXT is really good, but I don't want to say it in a bad way. They probably think they're too good for NXT, which they probably are, let's be honest. But they're frustrated because they're not on the main roster yet, and they're not making the money either. And obviously, as you said, you don't want them to move on to the main roster because they probably will be held back from their potential. They need to understand that now, that it's not going to be all fun and games and all the glory not going to be WWE champions straight away. It's probably even harder when you're on the main roster because talented people are, lost in the pack.
Yeah, I think looking at their situation, they're true fans of the wrestling business.
Yeah.
These are fans that have made their dreams come true, and they've been watching Raw, so they want to be on Raw.
Yeah. Okay.
But
I understand where you're coming from.
Yeah. As in, the whole view of NXT is that it's the minor leagues, but it's absolutely not. So yeah,
okay,
I want them to stay. Stay.
Let me ask you a question then. Obviously we know NXT superstars frustrated because they want to move up to the main roster. Main roster superstars jealous because they want more time. Who do you think out of the two has the more right to be frustrated?
Hands down, the main roster
Has the
because
right.
the main roster have been fed some rubbish storylines, some rubbish writing for far too long. They need to go back to their roots. They need to go back to wrestling, real wrestling storylines. Hey, I loved it when Daniel Bryan brought up the infamous Katie Vick quote, if you wish. I mean, that's wrestling. That's wrestling.
Yeah, but now the audience probably too young to remember what the hell that is.
Exactly. No, actually, do not Google it if you don't know what Katie Vick is. If you do, then please try to erase it from your mind somehow.
So will you say the main roster superstars are right to be frustrated, or they're just overreacting? Because I mean, okay, I don't want to pick any names out, just in case in the 1,000,000 to 1 chance someone hears it. Um, let's just pick out a name. Let's say Randy Orton. We know he can work in the ring. He's entertaining.
Yeah.
Let's say he's frustrated because someone who he might deem inferior in the form of Sami Zayn or Kevin Owens or Adrian Neville, they're hogging the limelight. Do you think he has a right to be frustrated at that if they're being talked about more than him?
I don't think at all that they're hugging the limelight. I mean, when it comes to um, you know, being a bigger name, Randy Orton is the bigger name. I think there's more people out there that know Randy Orton than Sami Zayn.
Yeah.
So in that case,
I
I
think
don't see why he should be frustrated, Randy Orton. If he's really passionate about the wrestling in general, like it should be what he produces in the ring or the storyline he's with. I mean, like
I
it's
just
no
want
wonder CM Punk left
I just want to
because
emphasize I'm not targeting Orton. That's just the first wrestler that popped into my head. He might get along very well with NXT. I'm just saying we're making it sound like he's the bad guy. That's
he's
obviously not the
always the
case.
bad guy.
Yeah,
He's always the bad guy.
probably how he loves it.
Yeah,
But
but
I think with NXT, obviously they deserve the limelight. Obviously, this is a platform for them. I think the main roster think they would have liked something like this to be around when they were coming up, which they
yeah,
obviously
I
didn't
do
get.
think they had they did have it. It was
OVW,
OVW
but
back in
it's
the
not as in
day.
it's not as mainstream as NXT. I think that's the key thing
Yeah,
here. Obviously,
but
it's a
but it's funny because see, I like watching the whole wrestling scene,
yeah.
and this is quite recently, yes. But it just feels it's so strange because WWE's made this whole this new competition, this new alternative in the form of NXT. I find that so strange. I mean, we're still talking about WWE itself, but it feels like it's two different brands, two different companies,
Hmm.
but it's not. It's really strange situation.
I think. Well, one thing I want to ask is, would you rather be obviously if you're on the main roster, you've done it. You're in the WWE. That's like every kid's dream, being a WWE superstar. Would you, if you were a WWE superstar and you're on the main roster, would you be frustrated at the NXT talent? Uh, considering you're on the main roster, if it was you right now at
No,
your age, you
no.
you wouldn't be frustrated. And what
No,
if?
I wouldn't be frustrated at the actual talent. I would be frustrated at Vince McMahon.
Hmm, I'm guessing a lot of people are,
S-
but at the end of the day, he signs your check, so you can't really.
he he signs your checks, yes. He sets your direction, yes. He comes up with weird scripted promos like Roman
Oh
Reigns
god,
is.
yes,
So
it's
it's
hard.
Vince
Yeah,
McMahon who's out of touch. So I think with the whole situation with NXT, I mean this debate's been around for a couple of months
Hmm.
now. But I think it goes back to the management, really. It's not the stars themselves. I mean, Dolph Ziggler, we all know he could put on a great match.
Yeah,
Seth Rollins, put on,
Rollins, Rollins.
Rollins puts on a great match. So it's just about management.
Hmm.
Yeah. So let's get that trending, guys. Let's get Vince McMahon out.
Vince McMahon out. Hashtag Vince
Yeah.
McMahon out.
Triple H in, the authority in. Oh, the authority's back in.
Okay, so right now, what would you rather be? I know you're not a WWE superstar unless you're keeping a secret from me. Would you, if you were to wake up tomorrow and you're in the WWE, would you rather be at the pinnacle of NXT, contender, a champion, or would you rather be a main event superstar? I'm not saying whether you're a champion or not, or if you're in the tag division or not. What would you rather be, or which position would you rather be in?
Hey, that's like a stupid question, Rosa. Like Raw is Raw. Raw is the pinnacle.
Because right now,
You
NXT is the brand that is growing and growing more fans, amazing
It's
events.
growing,
You're
but
getting, yeah, yeah,
it
look,
will never be as big as Raw. There's gonna be no wrestling show as big as
yeah,
Raw.
but
And there's
selfishly,
gonna be no platform as big as Raw.
yeah,
Just what to say, which one would you prefer? You want to be at the biggest stage.
yeah, but selfishly,
Yeah,
if you
but
want to be, noticed, you'd pick NXT. Surely, you get,
I don't
you
know.
get.
To be noticed,
to be
more
noticed.
people
And
notice on Raw.
on the main roster, you could be a rosebud and no one would know. Whereas on NXT, you could be competing in championship matches and you're getting your half-an-hour matches, you're getting your spots, you're showing off your movesets, your skills, and everyone's talking about you for months and months and months, and people are making podcasts about you, not about people lost in the pack on the main roster.
I don't know, because you get guys like Seth Rollins, Roman Reigns, Dean Ambrose, Bray Wyatt, who are actually there. They're at the pinnacle. They're not kind of complaining. You know, they are household names now, if you wish. So it just makes it sound stupid when you just think of guys like Adam Rose being the one-off.
You know, Adam Rose, Bo Dallas, as in Big E's not hit the
No,
potential he was supposed to.
Bo Dallas has been injured, so
I guess. I like Bo. I really like Bo. I hope he does well upon his return from his injury, but we'll have to see. If you want to stick with NXT, there's something else I read. I'm taking it as a rumor, but I can see. I'd believe it if it was to be true. Apparently, Triple H is forming his own little group backstage in NXT.
DX.
No, more of the clique kind of group.
Oh.
Four superstars. Any guesses on which four he is giving special treatment to? PG special treatment to.
2 months after making his debut, wins a title.
Yeah, has to be.
You don't have to be a rocket scientist to know it's Kevin Owens. Finn Balor, maybe. Kenta, maybe.
Yep.
Sami Zayn, maybe. Adrian Neville, maybe.
It's actually those four. Adrian Neville. I was surprised that he's not one of the four. He's probably big on him. I don't know. He probably does love Adrian Neville, but he's not one of the four he's giving special treatment. Apparently, the special treatment he gives, as in they're treated as VIPs backstage. They're allowed to get the way out of, vigorous training drills. They take place every single day. I'm guessing at the performance center. Individually, I read that Finn Balor is someone who openly criticizes the training drills. He backs away from taking part in them. Whereas Kevin Owens, being Kevin Owens, he just doesn't take part in them and pretty much does what he pleases.
He's Kevin Owens
Kevin
in real life.
Kevin
That's
Owens.
exactly who he is.
Sami Zayn is someone, or he's seen as someone in NXT locker room who's now got the respect of others. He's respected enough not to take part in them. And obviously up and comers are trying to reach that level. Hideo Itami, he's someone you can tell he's a quiet person. Obviously, it must be difficult for him moving from Japan to the US and everything. Apparently, he takes part in those drills every other day. And sometimes, in this report I read, sometimes trainers do approach the four to tell them, come on, train. Everyone else is training. You've got to do it. These four just tell them that they don't have to do it. Sometimes Triple H comes over and says. He tells the trainers to just leave them alone. Another interesting thing was, again, these four, they've got the freedom to call their own spots in house shows. Obviously, when producers, sometimes they reject, their requests for a particular maneuver. Triple H sometimes, gives them permission to do it. I think we saw something like that with Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn. I believe Kevin Owens did do a big spot on Sami Zayn's neck.
Yes.
Towards the end.
It was some sort of pile driver.
Something like that, yeah. It looked really realistic. It was.
Yeah, it was like, that's the thing. I've not seen this move in the whole of WWE for years. I think the last time I saw it was John Cena versus CM Punk heading towards WrestleMania.
Yes,
I think it was the number one contendership.
Yeah.
Brilliant match, amazing match. Again, two of the biggest stars at the time on the main roster, they kind of got away with it.
Exactly.
Kind of.
I think
so it just shows Triple H kind of like where he puts his face.
Yeah, I don't know
where the future is.
The producers might have given him the heads up, but my guess is the Triple H probably did it. We know he's backstage on Takeover. He's obviously very open about it on his Twitter account, taking pictures and everything. So he's obviously there, and I'm guessing he gives them the heads up to do it. But the one thing I wanted to ask, obviously, if this is true, do you think that rubs off well on other NXT superstars? Or do you think they think, okay, if they're not doing it, we don't want to do it? Or should they think, okay, they're not doing it, but there's a reason they're not doing it, is because they've fought their entire lives to get where they are, and we need to be into that position soon.
Here's the thing. I was speaking to my good friend Arif, who was sitting in the corner crying.
Yeah, thankfully.
And he mentioned that somebody from us two once said that Mojo Rawley.
No, that was Arif.
Rawley.
Arif, if you don't talk in the next, 5 seconds.
It's gonna say it's you, but
If Arif doesn't say anything in the next 5 seconds, I mean, he loves Mojo Rawley, and he loves CJ Parker, and he said they're the future of the WWE. So Arif, why don't you fight for your case and tell me that they're not the future of the WWE? And Imran, you can't impersonate him.
Oh
no, and there we are. Arif,
the
official.
best.
He's not Russian. He's not. It's Rusev. Where's he come from?
He's Russian now. He's Russian now.
Anyway, yeah, carry on with what you were saying. What did Arif say?
Yeah, so Arif basically said that Mojo Rawley is the future. He's the next John Cena. That's exactly what he said.
That rings a
But
bell.
he's not. He's not. And then I looked at guys like Tyler Breeze, who have been there for probably the longest.
I like Tyler Breeze.
Yeah, and he's great. There was one
worker.
point, there was talks of bringing him up to the main roster.
Mm.
Those talks have totally gone now. And it's ever since guys like, I would say Sami Zayn, guys like Kevin Owens, guys like Finn Balor, Kenta came up. That's when his kind of push, his direction, it was totally lost. The steam that he had, the fan base that he had, is died down. I mean, Tyler Breeze was doing amazingly. He was in the main events for the last 2-3 takeovers,
Yeah,
or
I
the first
remember
3
he
takeovers.
picked up. I think it was on a takeover when he defeated Sami Zayn, number 1 contender. That's a massive win. But obviously he didn't get his one-on-one match because that led into Fatal 4-Way. But yeah, as in they did believe in him.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's a selfish business at the end of the day. You've got to do what's best for yourself. And obviously, if you fought your life to get where you want, I'm sure you can get out of a few training drills every day.
Especially if you come across guys like Kevin Owens, Sami Zayn, Finn Balor,
if I was
who have actually wrestled together around the world
Mm.
on a continuous basis, and they're there. They're obviously going to stick up for themselves. They're going to be themselves. They're going to be their own friends. Like hell, like if you were there and I was there with Arif, I would be buddies with Arif and screw you over. It wouldn't make a difference to me as long as we get there together.
Yeah,
without you.
without me. But then again, if I was a trainer and Kevin Owens wasn't training, I probably wouldn't approach him. I'd just leave him be and do what he wants because he intimidates me that much. He probably would in person. But yeah, that's just something I wanted to get across as well. Obviously, everyone will have a different opinion. If you think something different in random, please let us know. With that, I think NXT is over, but obviously something I want to talk about next week with NXT, because obviously we've always been massive NXT fans from day one, since Barrett won in season 1. This is something obviously Imran pointed out a few days ago, the class of 2012 NXT versus the class of 2014/15. That should be pretty interesting debate. Unless we both agree with one, then that's just pointless. Then there's no debate.
Raza, you know me better than to agree with you.
You and I, if none of you agree with me. So please let us know what you thought of TakeOver Rival. We loved it. I'm sure you guys will love it as well.
Actually, just one point I want to bring across. There was a TNA pay-per-view called TNA One Night Only Rival, which was the most pointless pay-per-view I've ever seen. Stay away from these one night onlys.
There's a reason the one night only, because no one wants to see them again.
They were taped months ago with the old logos, with the old wrestlers,
nobody cares about
rivalries.
Nobody cares about TNA. Let's move on. From NXT, which is now Wednesday nights, we move on to Thursday Night SmackDown. It's the first time we've said that. Thursday Night SmackDown.
The first Thursday Night SmackDown.
And I've genuinely forgot what my line was. I think it was here bringing you the best review of the worst wrestling show the WWE brings to us every single week. I think I got that right. Yeah. It's Imran with the... I'll get it next week. It's Imran with the Thursday Night SmackDown review.
And guys, SmackDown opened this week with no intro, no pyros, and no annoying commentary introduction. Cameras go simply backstage, where we see Kane and Big Show talking to a group of tag teams. Kane says that tonight they will make history together, and in spirit of good, clean competition, there will be a tag team turmoil match, with the first team being that of Daniel Bryan and Roman Reigns. And then we get the annoying intro music, pyros, commentary.
No, I thought we'd escaped that this week.
No,
I like the new intro music though. I like it. I think they used it for Survivor Series as well, for promotional stuff.
Probably, but it's still annoying for me.
Still
So,
annoying. I think that's what happens when you've been forced to review SmackDown for so long. Everything's annoying. The color blue's annoying.
no, the music's annoying.
The music.
I hate the music. I just don't like the music. But one superstar I do like is Bray Wyatt, who opens the night as he faces an annoying superstar, R-Truth. Bray Wyatt doesn't exactly dominate the match, but he finishes it up in a predictable fashion with the sister Abigail. Next up, we get a look at Paige walking backstage and hugging a random person. And then we get more Paige advertising Total Divas. And then we get more Paige in a match against Summer Rae, which means it's my tea time. But then I realized the Bella twins are on commentary as well. So I went for a long pee instead. As I returned, Paige won by a PTO submission, which looks awesome, I have to admit. Then Paige and Bella trash talk with no fighting, no cat fighting. Not annoying, to be honest. So I don't mind watching the end. Then we got Fandango versus Adam Rose. Rose tells the road boss off early in the match, but in the end, it ends with Fandango fighting out of a headlock and hitting a leg drop off the top rope for the win. After the match, the Rosebuds check on Adam Rose, but he pushes them away and walks them back. You get a Raw rebound, which shows that Triple H challenging Sting to face him, and they're coming for confrontation at Fastlane PPV. But here it is, the night's main event, or main events, should I say? Because first up, it's The Miz and Mizdow. It's a decent, fun match. Bryan and Reigns force tagging themselves in, should I say, sorry. They force tag themselves in, showing that the other how it's done. The Miz tagged in Damien Sandow, who gets on a roll. The crowd's behind him. I'm behind him. But The Miz forces a tag back. Then gets hit by Bryan, a running knee for Team Supergo to get the win. There's growing frustration between the two, Bryan and Reigns. And next is the Usos.
Oh, I'm sorry. I missed my cue. Oh.
Usos.
Oh.
Usos.
No.
Yeah, the Usos put on a good fight, but the pacing of the match suffers as the whole match itself slows down. But this match highlights the growing frustration between Bray and Reigns.
Who's Bray? Where's Bray come from?
Bryan and
Where's
Reigns.
Bray? I didn't see no Bray on SmackDown in the main event.
I'm sorry. Daniel Bryan and Reigns. Daniel Bryan kicks Jay or Jimmy because they look the same to the outside and kicks him. Reigns pulls Bryan.
There's only one.
away.
There's only one Uso, by the way. Remember, it's the mirror. So,
Yeah. It's the mirror match. This is the tag team mirror match. Yep. So Reigns pulls Daniel Bryan away from the mirror, telling him to get back to the ring and stop hurting Jimmy.
I like
which
that.
is stupid.
Feel sorry for his cousin.
Yeah, but it's stupid because the whole point of a match is to hurt the other. Bryan tells him not to ever get in his face. This is a great spot where, with great storytelling, to be honest, and like it's something that we don't see as much on Raw. We see more of this on NXT. Both superstars have a big attitude problem with each other, but it ends with Bryan locking in the yes lock onto Jay or Jimmy or the mirror for the win. Reigns pushes Daniel Bryan once again, teasing a twist is coming. There's a Sheamus return video package. But now, main event 3, Los Matadors. I don't want to get into this.
We're really being spoiled there.
Out
really being spoiled.
Daniel Bryan. Exactly. But we are being spoiled because we go on to the 4th main event of the night.
Yep.
Roman Reigns, Daniel Bryan versus Heath Slater, Titus O'Neil. This was all Roman Reigns, who hits a Samoan drop to Slater and follows it up with a spear for the win. We have another tag team match. Main event match. And it's the Ascension.
It's just heaven for Teddy Long, isn't it? I bet.
It really is. It really is. But it's hurting my mouth right now. It starts off in the ring, but ends up with a brawl outside near the announcer's table. the beating gets quite bad. So the referee disqualifies the Ascension. Several referees run down to stop them. Now, the final main event of the night. Here we go. It's Team Super Goat versus Team Corporate Show. That's right, Kane and Big Show. Reigns and Bryan kept busy, so not much frustration between the two, but there is frustration between two other superstars, Kane and Big Show. However, Kane and Big Show double team Daniel Bryan until Bryan fights back and locks in the yes lock on Big Show. Kane breaks it up and they argue. Big Show tells him to get out of here. Kane pushes him and Big Show hits a huge KO punch on Kane. Reigns gets the spear on Big Show. Daniel Bryan hits a running knee to the Big Show for the pin and the win. Reigns and Bryan celebrate in the middle of the ring as something significant finally happens on SmackDown.
Mm.
Yeah.
What do you think of that SmackDown?
Annoying. We got a lot of main events. We were spoiled, but it was good. We got in all honesty, we got a very fun tag team turmoil match. It was great. Yeah.
Right then, moving on from SmackDown, before we get on to the other topics that we've got planned, there was something that happened earlier today. I believe it was last night, earlier today. Something I hope you can enlighten me with a little bit more. Samoa Joe, no longer with TNA.
Yes.
Apparently, there's a lot of interest from Triple H. He wants to give Samoa Joe a WWE tryout for a potential run on NXT. This again, according to Mets Fan Forever, infamous Reddit user. He has brought several stories, WWE stories in the past year. So you've got to give him some credit if he isn't, just lying his way through to the top of Reddit. Apparently, Vince isn't as interested in Triple H, but there could be a bit of a push backstage within WWE over the next few weeks to give Samoa Joe at least a tryout. Obviously, we don't know if Samoa Joe is interested in WWE right now. He might. My guess is he probably would go on the indie scene, considering that's booming again.
It really is.
Obviously, being someone who has seen a lot more of Samoa Joe than I've seen enough of Samoa Joe to say he's one of the best I've seen on TNA for sure. At his age, could he bring anything? Obviously, massive assets to NXT if he happens.
I think TNA Impact just lost a huge star in Samoa Joe. I mean, one of the reasons why I still enjoyed watching TNA was because of guys like Samoa Joe, heck, even Magnus. But Samoa Joe, arguably the biggest star in TNA. Look at his size. I mean, if you don't know who Samoa Joe is, I highly recommend you Google him, you YouTube him, because this is a fat guy. This is a fat wrestler.
Just a bit harsh. Just a bit.
No, he's fat. He's fat.
He's very
There's
athletic.
no sugarcoating it because he's already sugarcoated. He's fat, but he flies in the ring, and that's the thing. He's very athletic, and I would love to see him in NXT, especially in NXT.
But will it be there, considering he's one of the very close to CM Punk? I don't think CM Punk would also say, yeah, don't go there. Obviously, if Samoa Joe wants a really good payday before he calls it a day, WWE would be the way to go. If he just wants to wrestle, then I'm guessing.
I think he's had trials before NXT was a real thing. So like he has been interested in WWE in the past, but WWE's just not been interested in him. But I think the ties are changing now.
I think
with NXT. Yeah. So if there's ever been a bigger chance, now's the time.
Obviously, if Triple H wants him, he'll get his way and he will bring him to NXT. So obviously that's something to keep your eyes open for. And obviously, again, sticking with social media, there was something funny happened last night as well. Was the Bad News Barrett calling out Manchester United striker Wayne Rooney?
No way, no!
Honestly,
are you joking? Are you joking?
No, honestly, obviously we know.
Manchester United. Also, sorry, viewers, if you did not realize, I'm a Manchester United fan.
Bad news.
So we're gonna get influx of emails telling me how much you hate me now. It's fine. Just email us in, or better still, comment I don't mind. I like hate
Basically,
being.
the story is Bad News Barrett. Obviously, we know he's a massive Preston North End fan. American audience just like, what are you talking about, Preston North End? Preston North End fan. I'm not trying to make it into a football podcast. Wayne Rooney dived to win a penalty, knocked Preston out. Bad News Barrett, being a Preston fan, was annoyed. For a joke, obviously, called out Wayne Rooney. I didn't think he'd respond, but he actually did. He said, "I'll get Stone Cold Steve Austin out of retirement for you." And again, Bad News Barrett not going to miss out on an opportunity for a fight. Responded with, "Let's make it a tag match." Bad News Barrett teaming up with Kevin Davis of Preston North End versus Stone Cold Steve Austin and Wayne Rooney, booking Vince McMahon for WrestleMania. Obviously, Kevin Davis and Wayne Rooney had their say on it as well. So just something a little, interesting that happened last night. Moving on to more serious things with social media now. Not the whole.
Is it about the Kanye West thing where he wants to ban the picture of him kissing himself?
I've never seen that picture.
Yeah, you haven't seen that picture.
I've not seen that. I have no interest in seeing Kanye West kiss himself.
Viewers,
please don't send it in.
Google it.
Encouraging everyone to watch that. Basically, if we get a bit more serious, obviously we know last week Seth Rollins' Twitter was supposedly hacked and a lot of stuff went viral before it went deleted, and NXT Diva as well, Zara Schreiber, I think her name is, as well. It didn't stop there earlier this week.
I've actually got a question about that.
Yeah.
Seth Rollins was caught cheating, right?
I don't know. You never know. He just, you might get bored on the road. As friends, you might want to just...
As friends, you might just want to,
help each other out,
Yeah, just...
I don't know. I don't know if you don't want to accuse them. It's not like he's listening anyway, so you can say...
Main roster frustrations against the NXT.
He's taken out, yeah, exactly. Yeah. He took it a different way. I don't know. He might have. He might not have. But obviously, it didn't stop there. So yeah, Cesaro's Twitter account was hacked on the morning of February the 16th. I think that was on Monday. The hacker, the supposed hacker, I should say, you never know, it might have been Cesaro himself venting his frustrations. He sent out tweets questioning, his push or his lack of a push. And obviously, I think he did take things out of hand. Obviously, they're deleted now. Have you seen these tweets?
I have not seen these tweets.
If you haven't seen these tweets, any of the listeners, I will put a link in. If you're listening on YouTube, anyway, I'll put a link in the description. If not, then just head over to wrestlinginc.com. Browse around. You should find it there. You can't find Cesaro's Twitter page because obviously he's deleted the tweets. You start off with saying, "Everybody get hashtag push Cesaro trending."
Okay.
Then I'm just gonna say this company is a piece of shit. Was what he tweeted next. Which
might be Cesaro, might not be Cesaro. Okay.
I just found out today that I won't ever get a chance at a major title.
Again, might be Cesaro, might not be Cesaro.
I've pretty much had it with WWE. Even the Rosebuds get more TV time than me. I think it's about time I get pushed. What do you all think, WWE Universe? And why did they give me this gimmick and this awful theme music? They're constantly burying me.
Hold on, can I just bring something up?
This could be Cesaro.
This
could be Cesaro.
There was a incident during one of the live...
Yeah, I think I heard of this.
Tour shows where he came out to his music. He told it to stop because it was a piece of crap. Yeah. And he hated the music.
I don't believe
he called it out crap himself. So
bad.
Is this Cesaro? Is this not Cesaro?
I think they should have reverted back to his first music, sticking with the Swiss Superman and stuff. But obviously, what can you do? Next tweet was a question. I lack charisma? Yeah, right. I'm the Swiss Superman. Everybody cheered for me at WrestleMania.
Yes.
Then he took it, I think he did admit later on, after these tweets, that, okay, I'm not Cesaro, but don't you think he should get... But based on what he said as Cesaro, I hope that old man gets cancer. I would have been one of the best for sure in the WWE, but that old washed up has-been has no idea. Next tweet, you know what? I'm sick of Vince McMahon and his bullshit. I don't even get a chance to get the tag titles with Kid now. I mean, that's some pretty serious stuff, the last few tweets. I mean, that's just...
This is. I think it's pretty clear. This is not Cesaro.
It's not Cesaro.
Yeah.
But obviously he does raise a valid point. No, forget the last few. Cesaro's push. It's nice to see he has got fans who are really sticking up for him, probably in an unorthodox way by hacking his Twitter account. But,
It's anonymous.
but they have, raised the point. Is Cesaro ever going to get a chance at a major title now?
That's the thing. I mean, see, if you asked me this time last year, I would have been like, absolutely. You asked me at WrestleMania after he won the Andre the Giant Memorial Battle Royal, absolutely. If you asked me when he was with Paul Heyman, absolutely. There were talks about him turning face, facing Brock Lesnar.
Exactly, yeah.
Absolutely.
Will it happen now?
A whole year later, no. No.
Not
No.
United States Intercontinental? Or is that his limit now?
See, this is the thing. WWE likes their go-to guys. They used to have it with Kofi Kingston a couple of years ago. Now they have it with Dolph Ziggler and Wade Barrett.
Yeah.
If they need somebody to hold the title, that's exactly what they do. They hold the title and they're stuck in limbo of irrelevance. And that's what Cesaro has been like. And he's going to continue to be like, simply because for some reason WWE drops the ball with him. I think this point was picked up by Stone Cold actually during his interview with Vince McMahon, and he blamed the writing. He blamed the creative control behind like dropping the ball.
Yeah.
With Cesaro, and that's exactly what it is. That's exactly what it is. The fans are behind him, absolutely behind him.
If you stick with that, the creative control. I mean, on that same podcast, Vince McMahon did say, "Oh, he lacks the mic skills and the charisma." I mean, so does Roman Reigns. He's got the look, but the guy can't talk, based on the promos he's been given. But he's still being pushed up as the next big star, whereas Cesaro's not being given many opportunities.
Yeah,
he's a better wrestler. We know that. He's got a really unique look. He doesn't have to have long hair and a goatee. He's got a really unique look about him. He's in like an old school champion, like a San Martino kind of look of a champion.
Yeah, I mean the funny thing is this guy comes from an indie background.
Yeah,
Claudio, right? If you want to break the fourth wall, but that's what the show is about. And I mean, for an indie wrestler, for an indie style, he's dropped all that. You don't think about his indie style, his indie character, his indie skills, if you wish. But even his body, his skill set as well. I mean, he's pure strength.
Yeah, he showed that strength. WrestleMania, hasn't he? He's shown it.
Absolutely pure strength. I mean, the guy, his neutralizer on Great Khali.
Yeah.
He did it a few times with ease. If he was positioned as a strongman, facing Brock Lesnar, Roman Reigns, whoever it is, this guy could easily be a main eventer, easily be there. Not the typical WWE hero, but along the same lines.
Yeah, I don't know. If you could go back in time, over a year or so, what would you have personally changed with what happened with Cesaro to keep him on the track onto the main event? Me personally, as bad as it sounds, I wouldn't have made him a Paul Heyman guy. I think he should have been a tag team champion, a lengthy tag team champion as part of the Real Americans, which obviously I think he said before he wishes he could have done that with Jack Swagger, because that was a brilliant team with Zeb Coulter.
That was a brilliant team. That really was. But that's the thing, like,
everyone expects,
I don't know where
he's a Paul Heyman guy now. He's destined for greatness. Okay. It's easy saying it, but doing it's a different story. I don't know what went wrong in that little partnership, but obviously looking back on it, I think that's one thing that didn't work out well for him. He doesn't...
I think the problem with that was he didn't have the right... He wasn't positioned rightly, or or he wasn't positioned right on the Raws, if you wish.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, his whole gimmick. I mean, there was one time he came out with no music. That wasn't WWE's intention at the time. They were just waiting for new music, but it suited him.
Exactly.
You know, it was something very different, very fresh, and then they brought out Sirens, which
I think the timing of the switch of allegiance from Zeb Coulter's appointment was good. Straight after WrestleMania, the crowd's always hot. The timing was perfect, but I think they just missed a beat or two with what they could have done with them.
And then, I think because they focused on Roman Reigns, the whole Daniel Bryan scenario, but I think they were getting Brock Lesnar ready for his title win as well.
Yeah, exactly.
I think it wasn't just one thing that was wrong. To be honest, it was quite a lot of things that went horribly wrong for him.
Do you think, based on what this hacker said in his tweet, do you think Cesaro and Tyson Kidd can be a successful team / tag team champions? Can they is one question, but will they is another.
Can they? Yes, absolutely. Will they? I don't know. I mean,
it's a shame because they're both incredible. Tyson Kidd, the most underrated star in the company. We saw that in his resurgence at NXT. He's just the heel you can't help but love. So good in the ring.
He really is. He really is.
Knowing the WWE, I personally believe they won't be. They might be champions, but they won't be a successful team. Finally,
here's a question then.
Yeah, okay.
Do you think Cesaro might just get fired soon, basically?
Fired?
Let's say, not this year, but the way that they go in, they pick the ball, drop it, pick the ball, drop it. What do you think, say, in 2 years, there might not be any Cesaro?
I think Cesaro won't be released. I think, if anything, Cesaro will ask to be let go of his contract. They won't fire him. I think he'll ask. Just like Justin Gabriel. I think they know he's a valuable asset, but he's not that valuable in their eyes. Something along those lines. It's a shame because he's got the credentials and everything, the skill to be a successful champion. But if they don't believe in him, there's not much the fans can do. I mean, the fans can get Bryan into the main event for a second year, but the fans can't get Cesaro a decent push, which he should deserve before eventually thinking, okay, I've had enough, I'm out.
But it's quite clear the fans could hack into his account, and I mean, you must have a stupid password to hack into it in the first place.
But Swiss Superman 4 EVA. That's probably his password.
Yeah, his password, or like Cesaro Forever.
Cesaro 4 Kid. But with Seth Rollins, I don't know if he's been punished. He might have been fined. I don't know. I'm guessing his push to being the champion is not going to be, not going to get derailed. Do you think, even though Cesaro was hacked, a lot of things were said, do you reckon he could get punished? Or his push, well, I say push, but whatever they're doing with him will come to a halt?
Stupid question, no. He got hacked, it was out of his control. So, no.
Then again, so was Seth Rollins. His was out of his control as well. But I heard he might get fined, but no, in Triple H, I don't think he will. It's a mistake. But I think the one thing we've learned from here is WWE superstars must have some stupid passwords to get hacked.
Yep. Or like Seth Rollins, just like password 1 or something.
Yeah, something like that. Just password.
Just password. You just F this password.
Yeah. But yeah, if anything to be learned here, just keep your passwords secure, people. That's simple as that. But yeah, if we move on to Monday Night Raw now, it was the go-home edition for Fastlane.
Yes, it was. And I don't know how I'll lead into this, but the best review of the best show of the week.
Would it be second best now with NXT?
Second best. Here's the worst reviewer ever.
Wow. It's just cheap shot after cheap shot. This week's Monday Night Raw kicked off with shots of the jam-packed, sold-out Amway Center in Orlando, Florida, home of NXT as well, followed by John Cena's theme song hitting. Massive mixed bag reaction. A lot of boos, a lot of cheers as he makes his way out to the ring to kick off this week's show. He obviously, cheap pops, mentions Orlando, gets the fans on his side, shows some footage of his brawl with Rusev on last week's show. He talks about Rusev being a super athlete and undefeated, but he promises to beat him at Fastlane this Sunday in Memphis. He says that about everyone, let's be honest.
Yeah.
He says he's fighting, most importantly, this Sunday to win the United States Championship.
I was surprised about that.
I thought it'd be non-title, but okay, we'll get into that a little later anyway with the predictions. With that being said, Rusev's theme music did hit. I wanted Rusev to absolutely annihilate John Cena, but it never happened.
Rusev Machka.
I see you've taken over from Arif of the soundboard controls. Out comes the Bulgarian Brute, accompanied by the ravishing Russian Lana. They stand at the top of the stage as Lana speaks. She doesn't sound that anymore, does she? Rusev and Lana on top of the stage, taunting Cena, and that prompts Cena to threaten him not to make one more move, or he's going to come up there and kick his ass. Rusev does the "you can't see me" gesture, which I did laugh at. So Cena takes his shirt off and runs up the ramp. Rusev takes his gear off, or just puts the flag down and waits for him. Cena tackles Rusev, smashes his head into the LED board at the top of the stage twice. He leans over him and punches him 10 times, telling the referees to go away, and stands over him shouting, "Any man can be beat." The announcers then bring up the 40th anniversary of Saturday Night Live. This goes backstage. Dean Ambrose doing a weekend update type of segment sitting at a desk. Ambrose talks about facing Bad News Barrett for the Intercontinental title at Fastlane. So we go to Luke Harper versus Dean Ambrose. Dean Ambrose hits the Dirty Deeds for the win. Backstage, Big Show, Kane, Triple H. Big Show and Kane argue until Triple H tells them to shut up and reminds them that they represent the Authority. Big Show makes a joke about Triple H looking bad because of Sting last week, and Triple H says he'll handle Sting tonight. That was pretty good. I'm just not sure. Is Big Show face after hitting Kane, or is that transition happening again, and we'll probably see it?
I don't know. I think I've seen this so many times with Big Show. I don't know. He's turning for the 50th time.
From there, we go to another cryptic Bray Wyatt promo full of Undertaker type of references. I just laughed. Okay, what if Undertaker just wakes up and says, "You know what, I don't want to do it," and these promos just go to waste. He's just calling out someone who might not wrestle.
Yeah, I mean, he's gonna be calling out, like, I don't know, Dean Ambrose in a mask or something, in a coffin or something, or just Kane. They just might drop it to Kane.
I'm guessing if it is Undertaker and he's healthy enough to compete, probably the night after Fastlane will be where it all kicks off. You got roughly a month-ish to build that match up. Is a month enough to build up a match between Wyatt and Taker?
Absolutely. I think they've been planted the seeds now, and a match like that will just catch on fire.
Should Undertaker come back? There's no streak.
Is there a reason for him to come back? No. But WrestleMania is not WrestleMania without The Undertaker.
But you've got to learn to let go. You've got to learn to let go. He's not going to be around forever.
It's a match I want to see, so screw you.
Who do you okay, thanks. Who do you think would win that then? Obviously not predictions, you might change during the build up. Right now, who would you say should win? Not who will win, who should win this match?
I don't know, like
Undertaker's coming off a massive loss, probably like the biggest in his career. Streak ended.
Whereas Bray Wyatt,
whereas Bray Wyatt's first WrestleMania came in a loss to John Cena, so they're both coming off losses. For one of them, it's going to be back to back.
I don't know. Here's the thing: if anybody does decide on the outcome, it's going to be The Undertaker. And like, I personally think The Undertaker should lose.
I think so. I agree 100%. I think Undertaker's that kind of person who will say, "Let Wyatt go over." But knowing Vince, he might want Undertaker to go out on a high. I don't know if he'll be able to compete next year if they want that a dream match, a 55-year-old Sting versus a 50-year-old Undertaker. I don't know if they're going to do that next year. But at the same time,
I think from a couple of podcasts ago, which was months ago, I was totally against that idea. I still am. I still stick by it.
Yeah.
Undertaker, Sting, nice idea in our heads. Terrible when it comes to the ring.
I think the good thing about that is obviously every fan wants to see it. It's one of those dream scenarios. But when it happens, everyone's going to think, yeah, okay, that's it. Whereas
I've got WWE 2K15 for that now.
Whereas when everyone
game. Great match in the ring.
Whereas when everyone gets older, even us, we'll say, okay, there's this one thing still in your mind. What if Undertaker and Sting faced off? So then, one side, you don't want it to happen, because then there's nothing left. Because, there's still that doubt in your mind years from now. And you do want it to happen because, that's just a spectacle everyone has to see.
It's not gonna happen. It
I
shouldn't
I don't
happen.
think it will. But then again, Undertaker, I don't know if Vince will let him go out on a loss, so we'll have to wait and see for WrestleMania. Back to Raw, we see Goldust and Stardust together when in walks Dusty Rhodes.
Dusty Rhodes, baby.
Stardust blows his Stardust, and Dusty says, "Damn it, Cody, that's what I'm talking about." He tells him he's going to get through to him tonight. Goldust asks if Stardust can do this. Stardust offers his hand. Goldust shakes it. Dusty tells him to go out there and show everyone what the Rose family is all about. And then we get a match with Kofi Kingston and Xavier Woods, I believe, of the New Day. And Kofi Kingston hits a big kick on Goldust for the win after a bit of back and forth action going to the outside of the ring. After the match, Stardust gets into the ring and looks at Goldust, who's on his back. The New Day disappear. Stardust helps Goldust up and then hits his finisher on him. I don't know what we're calling it as Stardust. Are we calling it
A star drop?
Oh, right, okay, so we've dropped the Cody Rhodes name finisher. Don't call me Cody Rhodes again. The crowd boos as Stardust stares him down as he leaves the ringside. I'm really liking Stardust. I think if you give Cody Rhodes anything to do, he will put his 120% into it and make you say, wow.
I forgot there was a Cody Rhodes, so
That's how good it was. He might stay as it.
kind of. I saw more Goldust than
I think
Stardust. They were lost in dust.
They need Cody back one day because he's got a very, very bright future. Backstage, Roman.
So does Seth. So does Cesaro. Sorry.
Yeah, but he doesn't have a dad who's Dusty Rhodes, does he? Roman Reigns is interviewed backstage. He talks about having to go through 29 men, then the Yes Movement, and his reward in the end is he gets to face the Beast. He says it all. Reigns is asked about being manipulated by the Authority, but he says he wasn't manipulated by them. They just tried to get Seth Rollins into the mix and they failed. Reigns won't bring himself to completely trash Daniel Bryan, but he does say he didn't take being eliminated from the Royal Rumble like a man. He says his only way to WrestleMania now is through him, and he's not going to let it happen. He says, "Believe that, Daniel," and walks off. We'll get into the whole Daniel Bryan and Roman Reigns situation a little later on. WWE app time. I didn't use it. They just showed it on screen. We're showing a backstage segment. This was probably the 36th time I think Michael Cole probably plugged it. The WWE app. During the commercial break, Dusty Rhodes backstage grabs Stardust from behind and asks Cody why he did that to his brother. Stardust tells Dusty that Cody is dead. He had to live up to the weight of his polka-dotted freak of a father and the embarrassment of a brother, and Cody is dead. Cody is dead, and as far as he's concerned, so is Dusty, and he walks off. Very good.
Oh.
From there, the Daniel Bryan music hits. Massive yeses on the way down to the ring. Orlando loves him. Roman Reigns vs Kane up next. Daniel Bryan's at ringside, and we see some of the recent history between Bryan and Reigns again, as if we've not seen it enough. From there, Reigns' theme hits. He makes his way to the ring through the crowd. Bryan is on commentary for this one, and Kane is out last. On commentary, the announcers did ignore a lot of what was going on in the ring. They just talked to Daniel Bryan about Roman Reigns. Bryan says he owes him for spearing him last week. He takes exception to him challenging his manhood earlier tonight. Out of nowhere, Bryan stands up and leads the fans in a yes chant, which distracts Reigns, which allows Kane to take over, and he takes control of the match. The finish comes when Kane takes the top of the announce table on the floor. He goes to chokeslam Reigns through it, but Reigns reverses and spears Kane. The referee's count gets to 9. Reigns rolls in, referee counts to 10, and Reigns wins by countout. After the match, Bryan leads the fans in another yes chant while standing on the announce table as Reigns watches on. Reigns sits on the middle rope and waves at Bryan, inviting him to the ring. Bryan gets off the announce table and again leads the fans in a yes chant. Over on the outside of the ring on the floor, Reigns stares him down, and basically we know this one isn't over for the night. Divas action next. Summer Rae versus Paige. Paige music hits, but she comes out, it stops. Music hits again. She comes out dressed in a colourful tutu and stockings and attire she normally wouldn't wear. I'm guessing it's aimed at Nikki Bella. Paige screams that this is... It wasn't?
You missed a segment.
Did I?
Yeah. Backstage, there was a robbery. That robber was called the Bella Twins. They striked again and they stole Paige's clothes.
Yeah, I must have missed that. That was my pee break.
Was your pee break?
They stole her clothes.
Yep. So that's
why
she bumped into the rosebuds. Yeah.
Okay, that makes a lot more sense now. Paige screams that this is her house and unloads on Summer and applies the impressive looking PTO for the win.
That was my pre-break.
We see Seth Rollins with Joey Mercury and Jimmy Noble heading to the ring. Rollins says that his president, it must be really awkward for him, mustn't it, knowing what every single person is thinking while they're looking at him. A day where we honour the past, he says that's a waste of time when the future is standing right in front of you. Rollins says the word future is trying to become passe right now. He says he's the best performer in the entire world. He says he's the most valuable asset in the WWE and is untouchable. No one can stop him, and he could even become president if he wanted to. Rollins says maybe he could take over as host of The Daily Show and make the show actually watchable. What he really wants to do is cash in and become the WWE World Heavyweight Champion. He should be main eventing WrestleMania 31, but he's forced to deal with people who are so far beneath him. Guys like Eric Rowan, Ryback, and especially people like Dolph Ziggler. And as expected, Orlando crowd cheer out Ziggler's name, and his music does hit, and out comes Dolph Ziggler with a microphone. Ziggler asks Rollins why he's so mad. Maybe he had a bad Valentine's Day because Mercury and Noble gave him the wrong kind of chocolates. Ziggler goes on, and Rollins says the only thing funny about Ziggler is the joke he calls a career. Rollins says Ziggler is nothing compared to him. Ziggler says he's right, because he's nothing compared to Rollins, especially when it comes to being a whiny, protected, sellout douche. Ziggler says he's the guy that raises the bar every time he steps into the ring. He goes on and says about what he does best, and that's show off. They go to take their shirts off. What I've noticed is every time it's about to be a fight, or tensions rise, the first thing that happens is Mercury and Noble just take their blazers off. There's such anger. Like the mat has done something, just throw them down as if they're going to jump in. But yeah, Ziggler attacks Rollins out of nowhere. Rollins retreats to the floor to regroup, and he blocks the famous and hits a kick at the end of the match. Ziggler blocks the curb stomp, nails a super kick, and hits the zigzag for the pin. But as you expected, the Stooges ran in, and they broke it up for disqualification, so Dolph Ziggler won that match. After the bell, they continue beating on Dolph Ziggler, but Ryback and Eric Rowan run down to make the save. Mercury and Noble throw Rollins after the ring to safety. Rowan sends Mercury to the floor. Ryback powerbombs Noble and gets a Feed Me More chant going. Ziggler's music hits as he celebrates with Ryback and Rowan. As we see Triple H watching from a monitor as we know what's coming up next. Triple H is out next, and he laughs at people thinking he's now afraid of Sting. He says it takes a lot more than mind games to get under his skin. Triple H says at Fastlane, WCW will stand in the ring with WWE. He says Sting will do the unthinkable, go face to face, eye to eye with the game, not the COO. Cue Ric Flair's music. Here comes a massive reaction. Flair hits the ring as they show respect. Flair says he's here because he loves and respects Triple H. And besides, Triple H can't get mad at him because they're in Orlando where Triple H inducted him into the Hall of Fame. Triple H says if Flair's here to sing the praises of Sting, save your breath. Triple H says you already know how good Sting is. Flair tells Triple H not to take Sting lightly, because like his man used to tell him, don't put yourself in a position to fail. Triple H says he's a student of the game, he knows how good Sting is, and brings up the legendary Sting vs Flair Clash of the Champions match. Triple H says Sting was and is WCW. Triple H says that when all the other rats were jumping ship, Sting stayed with WCW until it sank, and he respects that. If Sting would have come to WWE, it would have been his personal mission to run Sting out of the company because Sting's legacy was built on Flair's reputation. Triple H says that always pissed him off and he would have kicked Sting's ass on principle alone. Flair says Triple H isn't thinking like the cerebral assassin. Triple H says that was then and this is now. Sting wants to come make it personal with him. He says Sting wants to take away what Triple H has, the WWE. Triple H says Sting is WCW, but Triple H is WWE. And Flair tells him to take a deep breath and he says Sting is already getting to Triple H. We got a lot of this back and forth. Sting is good, Triple H is good, WCW was good, WWE is good. But yeah, when it comes to kicking Sting's ass, Flair says that Triple H is... Ric Flair's not Triple H, and the reason he's going to tune into Fastlane is because he doesn't want to see Triple H sitting on his ass again like it was last Monday, and then Triple H shoves him to the mat as fans boo. Triple H looks down at Flair, and then he talks about his family. He says he doesn't care who stands between him and the WWE, even if it's Ric Flair. He's going to win. He's going to kick someone's ass. And yeah, if Sting goes out on his own or if he beats it out of him, Sting will never show his face after Fastlane. Clearly he will. Triple H drops the microphone. He walks to the back with a lot of boos, but Flair does manage to get up, of his own power and walk backstage.
This for me was the highlight of the whole week. I mean, there was so much history in this promo alone. I mean, going back to Clash of Champions, Again, I remember that so vividly. I mean, this is what you call WWE versus WCW.
I'm sure you can watch on the WWE Network anyway, can't you?
I'm so hyped up.
Yeah.
Honestly, this is the real like here's the thing. We had the invasion angle with WCW. It flopped, but this is the real, in my eyes, the real battle of WWE versus WCW. I mean, WWE's probably second biggest icon after The Undertaker
Yep.
versus WCW's icon. And Triple H, here's the thing. For weeks I've been wondering why aren't WWE acknowledging Sting as that icon? Triple H did it in that promo. As a wrestling fan, like this
Little
beat,
things like that mean a lot.
it really does. Really does.
But yeah, next, Darren Young is waiting in the ring with a local wrestler who I have no idea who the hell he is. The Ascension interrupt their introduction. Out they come. Connor and Victor beat their opponents down before the bell even rings. They destroy Darren Young and the partner. Then get Titus O'Neil running down to the ring, fights the Ascension off, but they look to turn it back around. Darren Young gets back up and helps Titus, and that's, as guessed, the primetime players are back.
They're back.
The old music hits.
Millions of dollars.
The old music hits as the Ascension talk trash from the floor.
Making moves, making $1 million moves.
Yep.
They're back.
The Miz is backstage. They got a really bad reaction though, let's be honest.
Yeah, I just like the music.
The Miz is backstage talking to Bad News Barrett. He asks Barrett to knock Damien Sandow down a few pegs tonight and show him some tough love. In return, Miz will handle Dean Ambrose. Barrett tells Miz to have his people call Barrett's people, and he will see him out. I don't know who these people are. Who are the people? But yeah, Bad News Barrett wins as he nails the bullhammer elbow. After the match, Dean Ambrose runs in and attacks Barrett, sends Barrett into the ring post. Ambrose zip ties Barrett's hand around the ring post, and Ambrose tells Barrett he's going to sign the contract or else. Barrett shouts for someone to get Ambrose off him. Ambrose has control of Barrett's hand, and he's signing the contract with a pen. Barrett shouts this isn't legal. But yeah, Ambrose has got the contract signed, even though Barrett says that's not his signature.
Yeah. I know, this was so
Exactly.
So
Back from the break.
campy.
Back from the break, out comes Naomi with the Usos. Tyson Kidd and Natalya are out next with Cesaro. Kidd and Cesaro versus the Usos announced for Fastlane. But Naomi pins Natalya for the victory. Daniel Bryan versus Big Show next. Roman Reigns makes his way through the crowd to join the announcer for tonight's main event. Roman Reigns hits the Big Show with a Superman push to give Show the disqualification win. After the bell, Show's music hits and he smiles from the ramp. Reigns turns around and Bryan comes off the top rope with a missile dropkick that sends Reigns out of the ring. Bryan mouths to Reigns to come get some and they stare each other down. Reigns hits the ring and not hits it. He doesn't hit the ring. He hits the ring and takes Bryan into the corner with shoulder thrusts. Fans boo. Reigns tosses Bryan out of the ring and they mostly cheer at first. Bryan looks upset while on his knees. Reigns looks down at him from in the ring. But yeah, they just roll around, trade shots. Reigns pulls Bryan out of the ring. Brawl continues, slamming each other down. And yeah, at the end they quickly, barely shake hands. They turn back around, start brawling again. Drop kicks, tossing each other over. They fight back to Timekeeper's area. And at the end, Reigns, they both held back. Reigns just tells Bryan to wait until Sunday as Raw goes off air. I think Reigns was bleeding pretty bad as well. But I think it was a strong finish to Monday Night Raw.
It was a great finish to Monday Night Raw because, coming out of Royal Rumble less than a month ago, the future seemed bleak. WrestleMania seemed bleak. But these two, just by adding Daniel Bryan into the mix, it's heated up so much. And this is a great way of building a storyline, especially through matches. I felt that whilst I was watching SmackDown. And again, I felt that throughout Raw. I'm actually genuinely excited, and I genuinely don't know who's going to win now at Fastlane. But I have one person in mind. That's later on for the predictions.
I thought Brock Lesnar would have probably made it a bit, or Paul Heyman might have made it, but I think Reigns and Bryan did a good enough job to make sure that, okay, Lesnar's out of the picture for now. Let's focus on this match.
I don't know. Here's the thing, the focus is on them two. And I love that. The focus is generally on them two and WrestleMania. It means a lot for both of them. Daniel Bryan's got the fans behind him, and Roman Reigns has become the old Roman Reigns of late. He's this badass wrestler. I mean, both of these guys. I mean, here's the problem with Daniel Bryan. I like him, but he has a tendency to become the ultimate underdog.
Yeah.
He wasn't for this. There was an edge to him. There was an edge
I
to
want to
Roman
talk
Reigns.
about
We're
Brian.
seeing that edge in this rivalry.
I want to talk about Brian just in a few minutes. Basically, just sticking to Lesnar and Paul Heyman. I don't want to get into it too deep. I'm going to leave that for next week. But I want you to answer something, and I want you to stick by your answer for next week, and that includes Arif too. Brock Lesnar re-signing with the WWE or going back to mixed martial arts? No, nothing else. Just the answer.
Oh, I, I, I,
You.
I don't know.
That's not an answer.
I don't know. And you know what? You could keep a grudge. I've noticed that you keep a grudge. So you'll be able to like keep my words as well. Till next week. So I don't want to say the wrong thing.
Okay, let's just say Lesnar leaves. Should Heyman stay on TV?
Oh yeah, definitely.
Okay, let's not
But
give.
I don't see a reason for him to actually want to, because the thing is with Paul Heyman, he's genuinely there with his friend.
Yeah, exactly.
He's enjoying it. I mean, I was surprised that Paul Heyman came back in the first place.
Yeah, exactly.
But if I was WWE right now, I would offer Brock Lesnar everything apart from the WWE World Heavyweight title. I would offer him millions apart from the WWE World Heavyweight title.
Well,
so
there has been talk of Lesnar not being interested in a return to mixed martial arts. He's offered to train CM Punk, according to CM Punk, which obviously is great for him. You know, we know Brock Lesnar is a very talented wrestler anyway, and he's got experience in the UFC as well. So that'd be big help. But I think there is a chance he could resign. If he does resign, I think that opens up the main event WrestleMania a lot more.
Here's the thing. Brock Lesnar, he performs 3 times in a year?
But he's a massive draw.
He performs 3 times in a year. He has 10 appearances on Raw a year, right? He gets paid millions, and he's coming off the biggest year of his entire life, breaking the streak, the biggest win in the entire history of wrestling, the biggest streak in sports, the biggest streak in entertainment, and he's the world heavyweight champion. I mean, why isn't there is no better reason for Brock Lesnar to re-sign? I mean, the company stood by him for so long now as well.
I think it would be not stupid. I think it would be good of the WWE to keep the title on him, because everyone's expecting, Reigns is the new champion. But what if Lesnar beats him? There's nothing left for him to do. The biggest challenger they had has been defeated. He's ended the streak. He's beaten Cena. So who knows? But then again, Roman Reigns might not be the one to walk out with the title anyway. Who knows? We'll have to wait and see. But yeah, we will get into a bit more depth with that next week. Mainly what happens with Paul Heyman and his future if Lesnar does decide to leave. Obviously, we want Arif's input on that as well, which I'm not going to get this week.
Rosa, I'm going to have to stop you there, my friend, because I've just come up with a eureka moment. A true once-in-a-lifetime genius moment, which makes me sound dumb, but yes. I've come up with not just the theory of the week, but the theory from past the last 9 months.
Okay.
Are you ready for this?
I'm ready, yeah. Arif, are you ready? Yeah, look at that smile. He's ready. He says, Imran.
Ladies and gentlemen.
He says, Imran, you can have the theory of the week segment. It's all yours. 2 thumbs up.
I'm going to require you to sit down. Take deep breaths. For this moment will clarify everything, unravel the WWE, make sense of everything from the past 9 months. Because, ladies and gentlemen, this push that we're seeing, from Seth Rollins, is a storyline
punch. That's it. Moment's ruined. It's over.
No. Shh. Don't ruin the atmosphere. This push is a storyline push that the Authority are giving Seth Rollins. But this is completely parallel to the real life push that Roman Reigns is receiving at the moment. But note, Seth Rollins is placed as a heel for his storyline push.
Hmm.
And now I require you to applause as I take a bow.
Oh, listen to the sound of that. Just silence. That's interesting. Interesting way to look at it. If you obviously agree with him, right? Let us know. If you disagree, let us know.
Yep. And furthermore,
all this more.
Yep. Seth isn't your typical WWE type of face of the company, but I like to still point out he's getting the push solely because of his talents. Roman Reigns, however, is the typical type of WWE face of the company, and that's the sole reason I believe why he's getting the push. So on storyline basis, they expect us to boo Seth for getting the push. However, in real life, they expect us to cheer Roman Reigns for getting the push. It's just two opposite ends. So, ladies and gentlemen, the last 9 months have made sense. Nope, you are not being
what? You're not just being.
Yeah, the last 9 months haven't gone to waste. WWE aren't just screwing with you. Well, they are. You're not crazy. WWE are.
I think I've always maintained since he won the Money in the Bank, Seth Rollins, for me, is still the number one star in the company right now. He needs to cash in on WrestleMania. And who do you think would be a bigger star to cash in on, Brock Lesnar or Roman Reigns? I think now it has to be Roman Reigns.
I think Roman Reigns. I don't see any sense in giving him the title.
But that all depends on what reaction Reigns gets heading into WrestleMania. If he's booed, then Rollins will be cheered.
But I would like to get on a certain topic about a certain superstar who could be in the main event of WrestleMania, Daniel Bryan. Now, Raza, should he be in the main event of WrestleMania, and do you think he deserves it?
Should he? Nope. Does he deserve it? Nope.
Really? Really?
Yeah. Bryan had his year, as you said, the underdog. He's not going to top that ever. I think second year running WWE have succumbed under pressure from the fans to give them what they want. It doesn't make sense to me. It's like a soap. When not a bar of soap, a soap.
Yeah.
Like if you don't like the direction a certain story is going in, you're not going to contact the director and say, "Oh, I'm going to stop watching your show if you don't change it." He's not going to change it because he's sticking with what the plan is. Whereas the WWE have just decided to completely throw that out of the window and just agree, oh yeah, Reigns is getting booed, Bryan's getting cheated, let's throw him into the main event again. My problem with this is, okay, I admit Reigns is not the most talented superstar on the roster today. He's got the look, yeah, he might be really good. But for me, he's the only realistic challenger for Brock Lesnar. As we've said for ages, it's the reality era. The reality is Undertaker cannot beat Brock Lesnar. We saw that. The reality is John Cena, a sports entertainer, cannot beat a mixed martial artist in Brock Lesnar. We saw that. He dismantled him. You're telling me the reality is Daniel Bryan can square up to Brock Lesnar and defeat him at WrestleMania?
That's not what I'm telling you. I'm saying
no, but that's my problem. That's my problem. Everyone's throwing him into the main event. Realistic booking, he cannot. He might be a better wrestler than him, but he cannot defeat Brock Lesnar. I don't think he deserves to be anywhere near that picture. I'm saying he's so talented. He's had his year. Time to move to the future. He's had a very injury-plagued year. Not his fault. He hasn't got his rematch for the titles. Understandable. It doesn't mean he has to get at WrestleMania.
Okay, I'm going to cut you short a bit, but here's the thing. Don't you think it would make a better storyline? Do you think it would make a better match? Do you think it would be better for viewers to see Daniel Bryan going against the Beast, the biggest, arguably the biggest, strongest, beastest, hugest, monsterest superstar there is. I mean, I go going against the beast.
No.
Don't you just think that is like a huge,
The
what
match,
you would call it,
the
like a super match?
the match might be good, but realistically, in the reality era, Bryan stands no chance.
But wouldn't you want to see that though? I mean, that's the whole
I'd
point
like
of
to see it. I'd like
storytelling.
to see it, but
Because
I think,
because here's the thing: like Daniel Bryan right now represents the everyman.
but how long can that act go on for? You
Well,
can't
he can
just
go on for another year,
Brian.
can't
It's
he?
not even Brian that's over. It's a yes chant that's over. He's just lucky that he's the one that he got stuck on. He had a
Has-
really good. He had a really good year. He did the unthinkable not unthinkable. We all knew it would happen when he beat Triple H and then he beat Orton and Batista in the same night. He's had that year. Nothing will top that. Not even a victory at this year's WrestleMania, regardless of who the opponent is. He's had that year. Let that go down in the history books as Brian as Yesomania, as Jerry Lawler said. You don't want to
Yeah.
do that 2 years in a row. I don't want to do I think it will be a triple threat match.
Okay.
And I think that will be to make the match better because the Lesnar and Reigns match doesn't sound too appealing to me. Bryan, obviously, he will take control of that match. And I don't know, it's. I understand why they'd put him in. He's a star name, regardless. But personally, back to your question, I don't think he should be in it. Does he deserve it? Based on the year he's had, I don't think so.
Really?
That's my personal opinion. Some obviously people might argue with that. That's the point.
Yes,
That's
I
the
will
that's the-
love to argue with that
That's
right
the
now.
point of an opinion. I think that based on the year he's had, not his fault, he doesn't deserve to be there. Maybe next year, maybe the year after that. Right now, no.
No, but again, Roman Reigns, the year that he's had, I would say he didn't deserve to be the winner of the Royal Rumble.
But as you
He
know,
doesn't deserve.
as we said this time last year, we know it's Brian's year, and
And again, the same thing with, as we said last year.
we know Reigns is being groomed. So why are they backing out from that plan? If Reigns is being
Here's the
groomed,
thing.
go through with it.
Here's the difference, right? He was being groomed in a slow, steady way. It was a build that I was really happy with. Everybody was really happy with seeing. But then they pushed him straight to the top of the pecking order. Forget everyone, forget your favorite superstars. It doesn't matter how Daniel Bryan's eliminated. It doesn't matter how your favorite fans are, your fan favorite superstars are eliminated. It doesn't matter about their past, their history. It as in they don't matter as long as Roman Reigns is the strongest, gets the push, raises the hands with the Rock. Oh, he's the new Rock. I mean, that's why I'm really upset because he has been elevated. He's been put on the pedestal, which I don't agree with, especially over the sake of other superstars like Daniel Bryan, who, in my eyes, deserve it a lot more.
I'm not saying Reigns is the most talented. I've said he's not the most talented on the microphone. Obviously, you can blame that on scripts. He's got a good look about him, but he's not a good wrestler as well. I'm prepared to give him a chance. Daniel Bryan, he's had his moment. He might get it again. A lot of stars do deserve it. As in, my personal preference is not to have Lesnar versus Reigns, but I understand why they're doing it. They love Roman Reigns. They're going to stick with him. Who knows, in 5 years, that risk might pay off.
Here's the thing, like Roman Reigns, without a doubt, is the superstar of the future. But why not? Why make him the superstar of now when you've got other superstars that could kind of like could put on a better show for the fans really whilst Roman Reigns gets built up. So,
but I think this
again,
opens the door.
I had an argument with you after the Royal Rumble. I had an argument with you this morning about the same thing, and I can't wait till we have another argument about the same thing.
But I think with Roman, I think this, if it's Reigns versus Lesnar, we don't know what it could be. If it is, that just opens the doors and paves the way for the future. That's like the old guard are now out. Reigns is spearheading the future. He might not win it. He might win the title at WrestleMania, but we're not saying he's going to walk out with the title. That's a key thing.
I wouldn't love to see him win it at all, really, because we're going to see him as the next John Cena for the next.
What fans want to see is a Shield triple threat. That's a great way to kick off. Reigns defeats Lesnar, massive victory. He's done it. He's a realistic. As in, who else is a realistic person to beat Brock Lesnar? It's not Triple H. He's already beaten him, a few times, and he's lost to him. Mark Henry, not going to happen. Big Show, not going to happen. Kane, not going to happen. Who is next in line to beat him? We saw how close Seth Rollins came. That was a surprise. Other than that,
That
it's
was
not
definitely a
Bryan.
surprise.
I'd say Bryan's one of the last few to do it. The underdog story, you can't use that card year after year. It's not going to happen, especially with someone like Lesnar. I think Reigns, regardless of the talent, is the person to do it. Whether you like him or not, I'm not a massive Reigns fan, but I'm going to give him a chance. I think he is the person to defeat Brock Lesnar, but I'd want Seth Rollins to cash in at WrestleMania.
No, here's the thing. I think it's going to be a situation of Goldberg versus Brock Lesnar again. Again at WrestleMania. On paper, it's very ideal. On paper, it's brilliant.
Hmm.
But in real life, it sucks. Just plain sucks. And like as real wrestling fans, like hardcore wrestling fans, we love to study the game. We love to be, listening to podcasts, being on podcasts, having our opinions heard. And we see this coming. So
Hmm.
yeah, but does that mean you see Reigns beating Daniel Bryan at this Sunday's Fastlane?
Is this my official prediction?
We should really wait till the end if this is the official prediction. Then
Yeah, I don't. I'm guessing that's going to be the main event. It has to be, sure.
it has to be the main
That
event.
itself is a big test for Roman Reigns now, main eventing a show with someone who's so over with the crowd. That's equivalent to closing the show with John Cena. It's
Again,
not.
this will be the time for Daniel Bryan to shine. Yeah. But let's talk about official predictions now. Are you ready?
I'm ready. Yeah, it's going to be an interesting
Right.
event.
Let's shake hands.
The-
Loser does a dare or a forfeit.
we'll see. We'll see. We'll see.
Okay,
We'll
he's checking
see.
that out already.
We'll see.
Yep. Now, first match of the night. This was announced on this week's Thursday night SmackDown, which, spoiler alert, I read. It's a certain dust versus another type of dust. Stardust versus Goldust. Who do you think is going to walk out winner?
I think Stardust will win. But I don't understand why they're doing it now. I mean, surely that's a WrestleMania match. For ages, everyone's been saying we want Goldust versus Cody Rhodes, brother versus brother. I'm guessing 2 years now. So
I think
to have it at Fastlane, obviously they might go at it again. That just takes something out of the match. If there's a winner, I'm gonna say Stardust picks up the win. Especially with such little build up. I mean, yeah, we've had build up, they've teased it, but I think that should have been stretched out longer for WrestleMania, not just 3 weeks of tension and then a match.
Here's the thing. I know, sorry, I kept butting in, but here's the thing. I think at WrestleMania it's going to be extremely, extremely personal. I think right now we're seeing Stardust versus Goldust. At WrestleMania we'll be seeing Cody Rhodes versus Dustin Rhodes. Yes.
I think if that happens, Goldust might even call it a day.
Maybe not.
Time
will tell.
Who are you going with?
But I am going with Stardust getting the win, leading to WrestleMania, where it's Dustin's redemption. He doesn't get it, and he hands the torch over to Cody Rhodes.
So, say if it's the end of Goldust at WrestleMania, do you think Cody will go forward as Cody, or will he take over as Goldust, as Stardust, as that?
I think he'll go forward as Cody. As Cody.
Okay.
And then we have the Divas title match. Paige versus the champion Nikki Bella.
As a Brit, obviously I want Paige to do well. I want her to be a champion. Super talented. But Nikki Bella is just... I'm not a biggest fan. Plus the fact that she's with John Cena probably sways things in her favour as being champion. And I'm positive she will headline... Well, as a diva, she will headline WrestleMania as champion. So I'm guessing Nikki Bella will retain at Fastlane.
I don't care.
Oh, fair enough. That's the official prediction. Don't care.
My T wins and then I win because I pee it out. Yes, that's how biology works. So yeah, actually, scratch that. I would like to see Paige win.
Do you think she'll win?
I want her to win.
But will she win?
No, but I want her to win.
So Nikki Bella's going to win.
I'm just so contradicting myself. Okay, yeah. I'm going with Paige.
Oh, interesting.
Yep. And then tag team match. Cesaro, Tyson Kidd versus the Usos. I'm going with the Usos.
To retain. Again, I'd like to see Cesaro and Kidd win. I love Tyson Kidd. But I don't think the WWE will give them the titles yet. I think the Usos are going to stay as champions because they're probably going to be the team to drop it to the Ascension. So at Fastlane, I'm going to say the Usos will retain.
Well, there's only one Uso, so it's Uso.
Uso will retain.
Yes. But that leads into the next match, which will probably be for the Intercontinental title. Dean Ambrose versus Bad News Barrett.
This is a tough one. I think Dean Ambrose has certainly fell from grace since his Seth Rollins feud. Obviously, he's got a championship, still a big deal.
Yep.
I don't know, a short feud might stretch out to WrestleMania, might not. I think a title will change hand. It won't be the Divas. For me, it will be Dean Ambrose becoming the new Intercontinental Champion.
Really?
I think so. I think Dean needs to look stronger heading into WrestleMania if he's to get a big opponent. And I think he should. If that's the thing, one side I'm thinking it won't be a clean finish, but in my head, I can see Dean Ambrose walking out the new champion.
I think
he might not win it properly, but he will walk out. He might just take it, pick it up, and walk out with the Intercontinental Championship.
Yeah, as Dean does.
Yeah.
Here's the thing, like this. At the end of the day, this is to set up WrestleMania.
Yeah.
Yep. And recently, the trend with Dean Ambrose has been, as an easy way to put it, bury him. Basically, like the Intercontinental is a step down for him. I don't want him to win it. I don't think he should win it. I don't think anybody should win it. Really, it's a title that should be really prestige, but it's lost its value. I don't want to see it change hands like 17 times in a year. It'll probably 30 times this year, so I really don't want to see it change hands.
So you think Barrett has got it in the bag?
Yes.
Especially with that massive match with Wayne Rooney on the horizon for the for the title.
Yeah, with Karen Davis, whoever that is.
Kevin.
I don't know.
Kevin. Good old Kevin.
Karen, yes. Karen Angle. But actually the next title match is between John Cena versus the United States champion Rusev Machka.
I'm confused by this. Title on the line, really? I know this is a title that made John Cena what he is now, but I can't see him winning it again. If they're going to stretch the feud out, that probably means Cena's got the WrestleMania win in the bag. Unfortunately, because I actually want WWE to swerve and make Rusev unbeaten at WrestleMania, but it probably won't happen. At Fastlane, I'm going to go with Rusev to walk out with the United States Championship. He's not going to make Cena tap. He never gives up. Well, that's what they want us to believe. Obviously, Kurt Angle probably has a different theory about that. When he made Cena tap time and time again.
Aha! I have had another eureka moment. So the moon must be blue. And what is that, I hear you say? Well, WWE has got a big plan in the works. They have been teasing it for weeks now. Vignettes playing for the last week, actually. Sorry, not weeks, for the last week.
For a week.
Yeah. No, it's not The Undertaker. He will not be returning at Fastlane. It will be Sheamus, the guy who lost the United States Championship, if I remember correctly, to Rusev. But he will come as a heel. He will attack John Cena, thus John Cena not winning the title, Rusev retaining and leading to a big match, hopefully a triple threat at WrestleMania.
Well,
That's why the match has been set for this pay-per-view, although the rumors were going on a rampage about this match happening at WrestleMania.
I'm making it clear Rusev is walking out with the United States Championship.
I'm making it clear. I don't care what you say. Sheamus is going to be there.
I'd
He's
like to
going to
see that.
attack John Cena.
But do you think it could be a triple threat match? I think Rusev would probably be inserted into a different match.
Rusev match.
I don't think they'd have a triple threat.
Possibly to unite the Intercontinental title and be like the world title, because I missed that. But I
could there be?
think that question's irrelevant for this podcast.
Yeah.
Right now for this episode. Yeah, I'm sticking with Sheamus.
Sheamus wasn't even an option.
I don't care. But yeah, that leads on to the main event of the night. Number one's contendership match. This is what the fans have been dying to watch. The build-up's been great. Daniel Bryan versus Roman Reigns. Winner goes to main event WrestleMania against Brock Lesnar.
It's difficult because in my eyes they both go to WrestleMania. WrestleMania will be a triple threat. Will there be a winner? No, in WWE they might have a winner, and then on next night on Raw they'll just change it, and Bryan will be back in somehow. But that's what I'm saying. I'm saying both of them will be at WrestleMania. But if I had to pick a winner, I'd say it will be Roman Reigns to make him look even stronger heading into WrestleMania.
Yep. I totally disagree with you again.
Thought so, yeah.
Yep. I'm going with Daniel Bryan, and I could even tell you how it's going to be. It's going to be a knee to the face.
But where does that leave Roman Reigns after a Royal Rumble victory? It doesn't even get to WrestleMania.
Yeah, I hope he doesn't. But knowing WWE, you never know.
But we've
we've
also got the possibility of Rollins and Ziggler being involved in some capacity, I'm guessing. They're just completely being disregarded from the entire card, which is surprising.
Hang on. This brings about the possibility of a angle with Randy Orton.
Exactly, I was about to say that there's one return, there could be another with Orton. We know he's fit. He's been back on live events for a while now. So,
or would he come back as a face or a heel?
I think he has to come back as a face. I don't know. At WrestleMania, could it be Seth Rollins versus Dolph Ziggler? That's a potential show stealer right there. Or will it be Seth Rollins and Randy Orton? I think with Ziggler, the plan was to team him with Ryback. So I'm guessing that opens the door for Rollins and Orton to finally get hands on each other.
Yeah, I don't care what you say. Daniel Bryan's going to beat Roman Reigns, go on to beat Brock Lesnar, and Roman Reigns is going to face Randy Orton.
Okay, then. Those are our predictions for Fastlane. Please let us know what you think will go down on Sunday. And I believe that's all we have for today.
Yep.
It's been fantastic talking to you guys again after so long. I hope and remain positive. We will be back next week with all of the fallout from WWE Fastlane.
Hang on.
Yep.
Has Arif actually recently said a word?
Where's he gone? He left without saying bye. Wow. I'm guessing he's really upset. But yeah, I
hope he's on the show next week.
I hope so as well. I hope you guys enjoy Fastlane. I hope all the listeners enjoy Fastlane as well. And we'll see you next week.
And if you're Arif listening in, then Raza is very sorry.